The finale to me was anticlimactic. It was okay, but honestly, I kind of wish that the season had ended after episode 15. Like, once that ended, they showed us like the scene with the radio and then the scene with Alpha that happened towards the end of this episode and called it a day. But the episode was okay. I mean, it wasn't the best finale we've had. It wasn't like Sophia's a walker. It wasn't like, oh my gosh, look, there's the prison. It wasn't like, ooh, hey, hello, Negan. It wasn't like, ooh, the Terminites eat people, and so on and so forth. But it was what it was. The calm before the storm. Now the question is, for season 10, for those of you who didn't read the comics, you're probably wondering what's going to happen next. It's about to go down. That's as far as I will say without spoiling it for you. It's about to go down. And if you have some time the next couple months leading up to the season premiere of season 10, do yourself a favor and read the comics so you understand what is about to happen, because it's about to get wild. And see, I'm not too keen on these finales of The Walking Dead where nobody dies, because that means in the season premiere, folks are probably going to be dying. So I'm looking forward to the trailer that's going to air or premiere during San Diego Comic-Con, and seeing the one that will premiere during New York Comic-Con. But until then, let's just get down to this review. So I'm Sage Valentine. Welcome to my channel, and this is my recap/review of AMC's The Walking Dead, Season 9, Episode number 16, entitled The Storm. So pretty much the episode opens up with scenes of mourning. The kingdom has to be evacuated because of the incoming storm, on top of the fact that that stupid pipe finally burst. Henry was doing what he could to patch up that pipe, but it wasn't going to last long if Henry hadn't been killed. Like, that thing was going to blow. And it sure did. And there was nothing that anybody could do to fix it. So Carol and Ezekiel are pretty much broken after Henry's death, which is understandable. The kingdom is going to have to head to Hilltop so that they can stay warm during the upcoming storm. So pretty much, Maggie hasn't responded to the letters that were sent to her by the council. So when people say, oh my gosh, I think that was Maggie's voice on the radio at the end of the episode, no. I feel like Maggie would come rolling up in a car or something. I don't think she would be trying to communicate with them over the radio. And if the Commonwealth is what it is in the comics, yeah, no, she'd come rolling up. So folks are none too happy with Lydia, and rightfully so. And Daryl has to defend her against Alden and basically tell her, yeah, everybody is upset with you for what happened, but they don't have to treat you like crap. So Daryl's talking to Carol, and Daryl tells Carol, listen, Henry wanted Lydia with us. And Carol says that every time she looks at Lydia, she can see Henry's face. And Ezekiel is not happy with Carol walking with Daryl, and I'm just like, why are they doing this? Like, why are the writers doing this? Like, Ezekiel is not that type to hold a grudge. He seems to be very easygoing. Even when he's upset, he's like rationally upset. So to make this so that he's mad at Daryl and thrust Carol into Daryl's arms is kind of weird. And playing into the hands of the shippers who are super excited that Carol and Daryl are breaking up. They knew before I did. Well, I knew that was going to happen from the comics, but I'm saying like they got a hold of the spoilers and spread them all around on social media, Tumblr and Twitter, and were rejoicing about this. And I'm just like, if you think this is going to lead Daryl and Carol together, you're mistaken. If they do end up together, I feel like they're going to kill off Carol, and that's not what I want. So yeah, I don't ship anything on this show. Everybody's entitled to ship what they want, but me, I'm just like, I don't want those two together because these relationships on this show don't work. One of the people dies, as we've seen over 9 seasons. If there's a working couple, somebody always dies or disappears in Rick's case, so I'm not here for them getting together. So the journey from the kingdom to the hilltop is going to have to continue through the night, and they have to make it to the closest way station. Meanwhile, at Alexandria, people realize that they're going to have to let Negan out of his prison cell as per Father Gabriel, because Father Gabriel doesn't want him to freeze to death. I'm sure everybody else at Alexandria was like, oh well. Anyway, they all end up having to haul up in Aaron's house, Barbara's house, and the meeting room. It's funny how when I watched like a clip online and it sounded like Sadiq said Aaron and Barbara's house, and I was just like, am I hearing things? Am I hearing the name Aaron or something? Because there is a difference in the pronunciation between Aaron and Aaron. Yeah, I know I'm off track. I'm getting right back on track. Anyway, Ezekiel decides to talk to Daryl and speak for Carol. I'm just like, again, this is not something Ezekiel would do, or the Ezekiel that we have seen over the course of how many seasons. Like, this is just completely out of character in my opinion. But he's basically telling Daryl, listen, it's time for you to bounce. I wanted to have a fresh start with Carol, and I'm just looking at him like, didn't you like open your arms to Daryl last episode? So why the sudden change? Daryl side eyes Ezekiel, but he doesn't say anything, and I'm side eyeing whoever decided to put this scene into this episode, because to me it wasn't needed. Lydia tries to kill herself by offering her arm to a walker. A cool looking walker at that. One that's like stuck in the frozen lake. But she can't do it, and thank goodness Carol pops up at the right time. So the group decides to seek refuge at the sanctuary for a bit, and the sanctuary looks like a hot mess, but then again it looked like a hot mess when Negan visited it how many episodes ago, so it looks even worse now. Negan in this next scene back at Alexandria is so full of glee and sarcasm, and he says a cuss word, and Judith is just like, language, and all I can think of is Captain America fussing at people during, I think it was the Avengers. Every time they said a curse word, Judith's like little Captain America that way. Negan has the whole quadrangle thing pegged down to a T. He knows what's going on. He's got all this color commentary. It's super funny, super hilarious. And he calls Father Gabriel Father, not the Father. So Dog, aka Daryl's dog, is missing. Judith was supposed to be watching him, and somehow Dog got out. So something smells weird in that cabin where they all are. Come to find out, after like Eugene moves, I think it was Sadiq and I forgot who else it was, and they kind of move before the fire kind of blows up a little bit or something. Come to find out, the chimney was clogged because of the blizzard. That's pretty much everything that Eugene said, because he was saying all this stuff, and I'm like, it's pretty much clogged because of the blizzard. So Judith and RJ kind of snuggling together to keep warm was so cute. Now they all have to head to Aaron's house. At first, they're about to leave Negan all like locked up on his own. But then I guess they let him out, and they decide to use a human chain to travel in the blizzard. Anyway, we see Carol. She's a sad soul back at the sanctuary. Daryl convinces her that they are going to make it, but he won't tell her what Ezekiel said to him. Carol feels lost. She believes that Ezekiel blames Daryl for what happened to Henry because he cannot blame her. Daryl says he can keep Lydia safe on his own. He can just take her and they'll go. But Carol's like, I don't want you to go. And I'm like, I don't want Daryl to go either, because every time they all separate, something bad happens. So Michonne and Ezekiel are having this conversation about supply runs and the length of time it will take to get to the next way station. I'm just thinking of the comics about how they were in a relationship and the type of bond that they have on the show as well as in the comics. So Ezekiel is worried about starting a war if the group decides to, or if the group goes through with cutting through Alpha's territory, but they're going to have to. There's no other way. And Michonne's like, we got to keep going or we're all going to freeze to death. Michonne apologizes to Negan, saying that she wishes that there was another way, that they didn't have to cross through the territory. She thought that being apart made them stronger. Alpha was able to walk amongst them because they didn't know each other anymore. They cannot break apart again. They have to make sure that the Whisperers don't see them crossing. through their territory. Now, going back through that territory past the Pikes was so eerie. In the dark with the snow. This whole season keeps popping up with these dark, eerie scenes. I'm totally feeling it because it's so creepy and I love it. Anyway, we get to see another scene with the chain gang. I'm calling them the chain gang from Alexandria, and they are crossing, trying to make it to Aaron's house. Well, Judith hears dog barking and she runs off, and Negan chases after her. Then we get back to Michonne and Daryl and the crew from the kingdom, and the scene has like snow and frozen walkers, and it's so cool. Michonne slices off 2 of the walkers' heads because they were 3. Daryl shot one with an arrow because they weren't sure if those were whisperers or not. I was like, ooh, this is going to be a really interesting scene with the fight between Team Family and the whisperers. Now it's just a bunch of frozen popsicle walkers. Anyway, they all made it to the river. Michonne and Daryl checked the ice, and it was so cool to see them like going towards the ice, and like he grabbed her hand and he was checking the ice. That was kind of cool. So anyway, it's solid. They can cross. Lydia slips off again, and Carol heads off to find her. Then as they're crossing, these walkers emerge from the snow. Like, this is so cool. I'm calling them the snow bunny buried walkers. So cool. Anyway, to me, this feels like, even with the 3 frozen walkers, it feels like this was a trap left by Alpha and the Whisperers to see if anybody crossed that territory. Somebody would probably watch this and say they don't think so. I kind of do. Part of me believes that it is. And lo and behold, the group did. That whole scene was awesome. The walkers popping up and grabbing people was really cool. Part of me was thinking that ice was going to crack at some point. I was wrong. Nope. I was wrong. And Jerry and Nabila and their kids were safe. I was happy about that. So Lydia feels like all of this is her fault. There's only one way to fix it. She has to die. No one has to know if Carol kills her. And I'm like, your mom will have a fit if you die. Yeah, she talked that whole game about you're no longer a whisperer because you're weak and whatever, but you know how moms are, even crazy moms like Alpha. I don't think there are that many crazy moms out here like Alpha, but anyway, she would still have a fit and be trying to slice and dice people because Lydia died. So then we see a scene that kind of cuts into that scene with Daryl, and he's like battling these walkers, or like this one walker that's walking, and it knocks him down, and it knocks the bow and arrow or the crossbow out of his hand. And I'm just like, I see what you writers are doing. Every so often they gotta put one main character in some danger. I'm like, I see you writers. I see you. So Carol doesn't kill Lydia, and she tells Lydia that she's not weak. And I feel like Lydia is going to be the one child that Carol cared for that survives and continues to survive. So Negan, Rosita, and Sadiq are out looking for Judith. Negan is walking, and all of a sudden some type of like metal or something like knocks him in the leg or slices him in the leg, and then he falls down, and Negan eventually finds Judith with Dog, and she's freezing, and she says something about Negan's leg looking like blank, and I'm just like, Negan's rubbing off on you, kid, because now you're cursing after saying language to him not too long ago. And I'm like, if Michonne was there when all this happened, she would have had a fit. So Negan knows where Judith is at all times, like Michonne knew where Carl was. That's where Negan and Michonne are kind of the same with these Grimes kids. But anyway, Negan carries Judith to safety and brings Dog along. So Michonne and the crew finally make it to Hilltop. Everyone is safe and warming up. Jerry decides to call Hilltop Kingtop, you know, half kingdom, half Hilltop. Daryl is like Lydia's father figure, so Aaron was right. Daryl would be a good dad, so I guess he's going to be the dad figure that Lydia missed growing up. And Carol will be the mother figure that she didn't have because Alpha's a mess. And we've only begun to scratch the surface of the type of person Alpha is. If the writers continue adapting her storyline the way it is in the comic, there's one more element that's coming, and it's none too nice. or it's going to be revealed, and it's none too nice. So anyway, Carol and Ezekiel broke up. That whole scene was sad. She's heading back to Alexandria. He said he'll never stop loving her, and she gave him back his ring. That was just a really sad scene. So Michonne and a small crew from Hilltop make it back to Alexandria, and Michonne hugs Judith and asks Judith what happened, and she said it's snowing or it's cold. RJ's playing in the snow, and she hugs him. Then everybody starts playing in the snow and throwing snowballs, and it's so cute. Then we see a scene with Michonne chatting with Negan. I knew this was going to happen at some point. She thanks him for saving Judith. Negan says Michonne has been through enough. He asks Michonne about her journey to Hilltop because Father Gabriel ran and kind of told him about what happened. Either that or he overheard what happened. Probably when Father Gabriel was talking to Sadiq. So Negan said that Michonne is ballsy for taking that group through Alpha's territory. And Negan starts talking about how no one thinks they are the evil one. Meaning, like, the idea kind of goes back to what I think it was Scott Gimple and Robert Kirkman were talking about with the whole, if we had seen Negan's storyline before we saw Rick's storyline, then Rick's crew would be evil and Negan's crew would not. That whole thing of a villain doing something for a purpose, and they believe that what they're doing is right. And I guess that is Alpha's method to the madness, so to speak. And it's kind of Negan's method to the madness because he thought that he was the good guy, and as we saw, he really wasn't. So then we see Alpha and Beta and the Whisperers at their camp. Apparently some time has passed, the snow has melted, and it's now spring. And apparently Alpha and the crew left the camp to go someplace warmer, wherever that was. And she tells Beta that she'll need to be strong for what comes next. And then all of a sudden, Beta whips her with the switch that she was stripping because she was taking the leaves off, and he just whips her, and she kind of winces, but she's taking it. She's taking it. So Ezekiel's chatting with Judith over the radio. She says that maybe Ezekiel can go back to the kingdom one day, and Ezekiel's like, just because they left the house doesn't mean they left their home. And then at the end of the episode, we hear a voice on the radio, and I do not believe that that voice was Maggie. I believe it is a whole new character from the comics who I really, really, really like. That character is awesome. I can't wait to see the season premiere of season 10, and until then, I'm going to wait to listen out for all the information, for all the casting news and everything else, and I'm looking forward to Fear the Walking Dead. For my Big Brother fans, I will be back to review Big Brother 21. Yeah, and later this year I'll review Celebrity Big Brother Season 3. So, I love you all. Take care. And like I said, this finale was anticlimactic, but this is truly the calm before the storm because Season 10 is going to be a mess because we're headed to another war, and this one is probably going to be even worse. In fact, it is going to be worse than the war, all-out war between our heroes and the saviors, but it is what it is. So you guys take care, and I'll see you guys back again later on this year, and I might review something else. I don't know. I might do Fear the Walking Dead. Let me know if you want to see that, but I love you all. Take care, and it's been a good season. Bye, guys. Love you all. Bye.